Wrapping up. We're back with Charlie Midnight, recommending you go get his book and follow some of the gems and stories that he has in there. Certainly inspiring. And Charlie, I know you are now based in Big Sky Country, the beautiful Montana, the state I was born in. Even though I live in LA and lived all over the world, Montana's got a very special place in my heart. And Bozeman. Um, Tell us about any of your latest projects, anything you can talk about, and how you're able to operate from a beautiful locale like Montana with people all over the world.
Well, of course, I will never stop doing what I'm doing, just like you have not stopped. And when we love something so much and we really can't think of any other alternatives that would give us this much satisfaction, um, and keep us going, we don't do anything else. Um, Fortunately, technologically today, I can produce and write from anywhere, all over the world, which I am doing right now, producing with my production partner, Jan Fairchild. I'm producing and writing for a Czech artist named Michael David. But what's great about Bozeman is that there's a 2-hour direct flight to LA, 4.5 hours to New York. So I've used them both. When I have to go to LA, I go. Just worked in East West Studios there. Or if I have to go to New York, I go. So everything is easy to do from here. And there are some good studios here also. Um, and what I'm doing today, so besides that, and continuing to write, I have a couple of records, my own albums that are coming out. One here in the States and one in London, based on material that I've written over many years. One that's coming out on Deco Records here in the States. They're located in Jersey, and it's owned by Bruce Pucciarello and Charlie Calv. And that album is I've done with my great friend Mark Swirsky, basically over decades. Some we did in New York, a lot we did in LA, because I had a studio in Glendale for a long time called Coney Island, and with my great friend Joel Seufer. And um, and so that material we've been doing for decades. We get our friends together. Sometimes I just jam the lyrics, but they're always great musicians and they're just coming in to jam. It might be the least expensive record ever done. Um, and so I was fortunate to have my own studio. When we were in New York, I was fortunate to have access to studios. We've been doing that over decades. And that song, that album is Mark and I wrote everything, and I'm singing everything. And the album is called Big Night in Byzantium, and that is also going to be the first single. And then this other record that I've done, which is going to be out on a label in London called Right Records, which is owned by John Kaufman. I wrote and produced with my production partner at this stage, Jan Fairchild, and that's something we've just been recording, and we have other singers on it, because I wanted it to be like we have one song called The Ever Loving Traveling Show, and that's what I wanted it to feel like, one of those not quite Mad Dogs and Englishmen, but really that type of feel. I wanted it to be like a family feel, and I'm singing some. We have other singers singing, and so that's going to be coming out in England. We don't know exactly when. The one that's coming out here on Deco Records will be coming out on March 29th. And the group, what we're calling the group on the record here, is Blue McSaws, which is putting two names together, because I've written these vignettes about these two itinerant musicians um, okay, so it's about two itinerant musicians who, at their record release party, uh, the Jolene, the daughter of the label's president, ODs, and the father blames them, pulls out a gun, and they go on the run. And so I've written all these vignettes about that. And I've also recorded those vignettes, which we're going to use as a podcast with some of the music. And so the two main characters are Solomon Blue and Kerry McSaws. So as a result, the name of the band is Blue McSaws, but it's really just me and Mark again with a lot of great friends. And the other album is once again is the Ever Loving Traveling Show, and that'll be out. And the one here is going to be out March 29th. The one in London we haven't figured, in England we haven't figured out yet, but we hope it's going to be sometime in the spring. So I'm doing those plus this podcast of these stories. Plus, I'm also going to have the written stories, and we're going to have graphic art to that. So I'm doing all of these things because for me, the key to survival is to be creative.
Yeah.
And so that's, plus doing lectures when I can in between everything, because I also love to do that. And that's what I'm, besides continuing to write, and we'll see. There's some really good things on the horizon, which I will be able to announce when they actually happen. And that's it. Why stop? As Van Morrison said, it's
If
too
you're
late.
having fun doing it, yeah, there are no rules. There's no
Oh,
parameters. You just do it. And
and I'm fortunate that people still want me to work with them. And as
yeah,
Van said, it's too late to stop now.
yeah. And we've lost so many of the greats. So, we know you carry a little bit of Dan Hartman, a little bit of, James Brown, a little bit of all these greats, into the studio or into the writing whenever you make a record. Our special guest has been the one and only Charlie Midnight. Look at all the segments here and bask in the amazing creativity of the world renowned Grammy nominated artist, songwriter, and producer. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. It's
Thank you.
been a supreme pleasure.
Thanks for having me on. It's been great. I always like, talking about this and talking to somebody that's actually interested in talking about it. So thank you very much, Jay.